Da 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 da. Hi everybody, Matt here from Matt Like Comics, and welcome to my first ever Sunday Superman show. Tonight will be all about the Man of Steel and his family members. Regardless, we can talk about Supergirl, we can talk about Crypto, Lois, etc. As long as it's involved with Superman, we're going to go with it. And as luck could have it tonight, I had a few friends decide they wanted to drop by and join us for our discussions tonight and showing of books. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Big Lyle. How are you?
Hey everybody, I'm doing good, thanks.
Clap your hands together for Allan, the comic collector geek, and the man himself, Stephen Alla Collecto 6. Welcome to the show tonight, gentlemen.
It's good that a man finally showed up after all these other people showed up. I would like to say thank you very much, Matt, and welcome to have all you boys with me tonight.
Well, I'm very stoked that you all could make it tonight. As everybody out there is pretty aware of, Supergirl is my favorite character of all time, but a very, very close second is Superman and the Superman family. And as far as comic books and my own life, Superman has been a very big part of it. And I've decided to try this show tonight to share my love of Superman with some people out there, and hopefully people will share their love of Superman with me. So before we get into everything, I just want to take a moment to remember Gene Hackman, who passed away not too long ago. Gene was the second person ever to play Lex Luthor on screen, after a gentleman by the name of Lyle Talbot, who played Luthor in the Atom Man versus Superman.
That was you, Lyle?
Yes, wow. It was. Yes, it was a long time ago.
Big Lyle, he played.
My finer days as an actor.
He grew the hair back.
I just wanted to say that I really thought his Lex Luthor was the definitive Lex Luthor. He just absolutely nailed that role. And apparently, up to that point in his career, he had never done anything of a comedic nature. So he was actually happy to take the role because it expanded upon his own talents and reach, because he was used in a couple more roles like that after he finished with the Superman.
I loved it in the second Superman movie when they're always crashing through. Says, "Don't you people ever open doors?" Because all they were doing, they always knocked the doors down. Don't you people have doors where you're from?
Yes, that was classic.
It's hard on the carpentry.
Yeah, I just like the whole. It's like it was so random that he wanted to be king of Australia. So
yeah,
I realized that's the writing, but it's like, Australia, really?
Well, he bought all the property that was back 50 miles from the coast.
Yeah.
And then wanted to have the Andreas Fault go out, take it all out. Then he'd have all the beachfront property and make all the money, That's a good plan if you can do it.
Yes, and despite what people may think of Kevin Spacey, the fact is, as a follow-up, he did a very good job. He did a great job in honoring Gene Hackman's role by the way he did it himself. Mm-hmm. Out there, just wanted to say, thank you, Gene, for being hilarious. Superman, the movie, was the first movie my dad ever took me to when it was just me and him. And when I was 7 years old, so it was a big deal to me. And so that movie will always be a big part of my life experience.
Well, so Marlon Brando, as Jor-El, and he didn't say Krypton. He always says they went from the planet Krypton, and I just said no. I said Marlon, it's Krypton. It's like Argon, Krypton. Okay, it's Krypton. This Laura, we're here on Krypton, and he was. he was quite a character, and I guess there was a contest, Matt. I don't know if you ever figured this out, or if you know where in the movie it is, but there was a contest for someone to be in the movie.
Yeah,
And somebody was in it.
And who was the guy? And who
there
was
were
the
two
person?
people. There were two people that won it. I don't know their names offhand.
I think it was a
but
boy or something, a young boy.
There was two boys. It was two young men. They were in the high school scene when Clark was the water boy and Lana Lang got in the car with Brad. They were the two friends with Brad.
Oh yeah, cool.
Like and Brad, of course, makes an appearance in Superman 3, all grown up as a dick.
Which is, of course, what you figured. Who was the guy that ended up working at a Howard Johnson? Was it Jimmy Olsen or something? He had a restaurant when they had which movie that was, when they were blowing stuff up? I can't remember.
That was the guy playing Pete Ross, actually. That was in the I think the Howard Johnson was blown up in actually no, you know what? I think it was blown up in Supergirl.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, but I just thought that was so
Johnsons anymore. So
being in the hospitality industry, I said, "Oh my God, Jimmy Olsen went from being somebody to ending up, or was it Pete Ross? Was Pete Ross running the Hojo?"
Well, Pete Ross was running a restaurant in the Superman movie with oh my God, the new guy, the newest one, Superman, Man of Steel.
I mean, not Ruth,
oh
Brandon
God,
Ruth,
Castle,
Cavill,
Cavill,
Henry
Cavill,
Cavill.
Yes, the Henry Cavill one. Oh my God, I had a senior moment there. Oh my God, Henry Cavill. He got Pete Ross was the guy running the restaurant in the Henry Cavill one. So I'm not sure. I'd have to look up which one had a Howard Johnson's get blown up because I don't think it was
I didn't mean to distract you. I just thought those were very interesting. They were very funny things.
This is
you
what
see,
I
tried to ask some interesting type quiz questions for you, Matt, because
And
I
you're
understand
doing
that
a
this is part of our shtick together. You see,
Exactly.
and it's nice
These
that
are
I
pretty
could share this
minutiae
with you at
questions.
this time, and I thank you very much for that.
Well, I'm telling you right now, this is what tonight is supposed to be all about. Discussion about anything Superman. So I'll look that up and have an answer for the next one. Let's take a minute to say hello to everybody in the chat. We've got Eric Casagrande. Hi, Eric.
Casagrande.
Kay Munins here.
Andreas the Scoffer.
We've got Big Nasty. Hi, Rich.
Nasty.
We've got Robbie Josephs.
Robbie?
I'm trying to read their comments.
We've Buttface McBoobies here. Hi,
we've arrived.
We're getting all the regulars. It's good.
Civilization.
SideQuest Comics is here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Steve Driscoll's here. Hi, Stevie D.
Big Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Renegade Rance is here.
Rance.
Wow.
And let's see here, Steve Renegade. And we've got Susie Q. Hi, Susie.
Hey, Susie.
Hello, Sue.
And that's everybody that's here today. Buttface McBooby says, I met Gene Hackman on my ship when I was in the Navy. They were filming behind enemy lines.
Which was a good movie of his. Definitely so. The French Connection, though, when he's having that race scene underneath the elevated in Chicago, when he has that race, they were saying that his anger that he could portray on screen, where he's just screaming, Popeye Dole, and he had the little butthead hat on his head, the little, in your face hat on, pounding on the wheel of his Buick or whatever the hell that thing was. And they're just driving like crazy. And they were all saying it's better than Steve McQueen and Bullitt, better than Steve McQueen and Bullitt. No, it wasn't, because there is nothing better than Steve McQueen and Bullitt as far as a race scene with a Mustang and a Charger. And there's just, if you have that, just quick aside, if you have a nice television and a stereo system that's all hooked up, yes, it was. And you have a good stereo system, if you get to that scene, if you YouTube that scene where they all of a sudden where the race starts and you crank that thing up and let her go, it is the most incredible thing, because the director that did that, I think he also did the Formula One or Grand Prix or something like that. So he's all about cars. And but but the sound of the Mustang and the sound of that Mopar, it's just and of course McQueen was himself driving it, and he was a very very good race driver. But if you watch them going down Lombard Street, you'll notice that the Charger is losing hubcaps left and right, and and so he loses about 4 or 5 hubcaps going down Lombard, and then another one where they lost it and it goes into the camera, and then you can tell that that's the car crashed there, and then they cut so that then they keep on going, because if you've ever been in that little section of roads in San Francisco,
It's
to
really
have them go as
windy.
fast as they were going in that section right there, wow.
Mm.
Now, George Reeves, Lyle Talbot, I think was he in the Superman serial, or that is to say that he was in the one with Kirk Allan, right?
That's right.
Now, did I tell you that I met Kirk Allan and I have a signed Kirk Allan picture? I actually met and talked with the original Superman.
Oh, that's cool.
He's a hell of a nice guy. And if you've ever watched those Columbia serials with him, he always jumps behind a rock, and then as an animation, then he flies out from behind the rock and flies wherever he is, and then he flies down behind a rock, and then he comes out of the rock, behind the rock as Kirk Allan. But he was a good Superman. He was not, but George Besselo, or George Reeves was his name. He was a boxer before he was an actor, and as a Superman, he really played the role and set it up beautifully. I mentioned to Allan, then I'm going to turn it back over to you guys, but I was telling Allan in some of the trivia that I've been looking at, because God knows my head's full of trivia, except if Matt's asking me questions. There is this scene where they show this kid in 2 of the episodes of the Superman, The Adventures of Superman. There's a little kid reading a Batman comic book, and it's the same comic book. Both times he's reading it, and it's the Joker. It's the totem pole boner cover, the boner story.
That's right.
So it is the totem pole Batman comic book is the one, and in the very beginning, Phyllis Coates was Lois Lane, and it was black and white, and then they shifted to Noelle Neal when Phyllis went off to do something else, not Nyoka, because I already got rid of that.
Yeah,
but I think she was a jungle gal of some sort.
Right.
So she figured that the Superman thing this was a better chance for her star power, where Noelle Neal is loved forever because the fact that she was a great Lois Lane, and what is it? Eric Larson was Jimmy Olsen.
I thought it was Jack Larson.
Huh?
I thought it was Jack Larson.
Jack Larson. And who was Perry White? I can't remember. Neil Hamilton?
God.
Neil Hamilton? No, that was not Neil Hamilton. I can't remember his name. Wow. But then you also had the inspector. Who was the name? What was the name of the inspector?
Oh dear Lord! I think it was it's not Sawyer. Oh, it's been a while since I've watched an episode. I have them all. I've downloaded them all. I just haven't watched one in a while.
Can you watch all the serials on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
I will let you simmer on that, Matt. I know you'll think of it. But I also, one of the most famous things, and I was so happy when they put
Henderson?
them out.
Was it Inspector Henderson? Because I think they used that name. I think they used that name in the comic books because of the show.
Yes, Henderson. And one of the Whit Ellsworth was very important with the production of that company, of the show, and also he was instrumental also in DC Comics. Big Lyle, you had someone asking about how you feel.
How are you feeling, Lyle?
I was just going to mention to Robbie, I'm feeling better, but I'm going for another surgery on Tuesday, so I'll know more after that. Tuesday afternoon, they're doing another gouging out of my back.
You know what I said, so I will leave it at that.
Well, as soon as I get to see him on Tuesday, I will obviously be yakking with him before.
I would brace him. I would brace him and ask if that's so. And I have an agreement with Mrs. Lyle that that's going to happen.
Oh, I know. I go to speech after your program is done about it.
Well,
Mr. Matt, also the most important thing that I saw that I saw as a kid only in fleeting glimpses once in a while were the original 1940 episodes of the Superman cartoon
yeah,
that
I
cost
have all
over
of those too.
$125,000 or
Yeah.
$100,000 per episode back then to make those. Those were designed to compete with the Tom and Jerry's and
Yeah.
the Popeye multiplane camera Popeye cartoons, and also for the Disney cartoons as well.
Mhm.
And Paramount, I believe it was, they put up the money. And Lois Lane has the voice of Olive Oil because I can't remember what her name was, but she was
It was the
she
same
was Little
voice actor.
Dot. She was Little Dot. She was in all these things. She was always it was always Olive Oil.
Yeah.
And when I first heard it, I says, "Why is Olive Oil's voice coming out of Lois Lane?" But the animation of Superman, and I always tried to slow it way down because they would have a very quick resolution, and I wanted
Yeah.
it to last longer. And
Yeah.
so those cartoons, and when they finally put them out on a DVD, and I could play them, I would play them for my boys all the time. Yeah,
That's true.
the mad scientist and the Ray was fashioned by what did you say?
By after Nikola Tesla.
Okay, but that
Yeah.
Ray one, he says, and they have the machine going clunk, 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 clunk,
Yeah.
clunk like this, and it's getting louder and louder. He says, he's not human. And the little crow's hopping around going, you know, good stuff, Maynard.
Wow, you got a good
Well,
memory.
I love the fact that
They infected me.
two
They
things,
really
two
affected me.
things I liked about the cartoon. I like the fact that the person they got to do the voice of Superman, Bud Collyer, ended
Collier.
up doing the radio. And Jack Kirby's first actual drawing job was as an in-betweener on these Superman shorts.
I didn't know that.
Fleischer.
Wow.
He worked there for about 6 months, realized what crappy money he was making, and went back to New York, met Joe Simon, and they started doing their stuff.
Wow.
Well, you know that it's his name is Bud Collyer is his
Yeah.
name, and he was a game show host to Tell the Truth and some of these other shows, and he was a fixture on early American television programs. And
Yep.
if you listen to him on the radio, if you listen to the I used to play these for my boys. I got a radio that looks like one of these cathedral radios that was a cassette player. And they gave me the first 3 full adventures of Superman from Pep. And they would get 2 episodes a night to listen before they had to go to bed. And always with Bud Collyer, he said, I don't know, Lois. I think I'll have to check into that a little bit later. This looks like a job for Superman. And then, you know, he would lower his voice, and he was Superman. So it was great that they had his, and they painted his S with the black and the red,
Yeah.
which I wasn't sure why they wouldn't have wanted to have it like what you have on your shirt, where you have the yellow for that contrast.
Because before 1946, the Superman emblem was not really decided upon. It changed quite a bit. In 46, after the war, when Schuster and Siegel and Siegel was back and they were working. Well, they had been fired at that point, I think. But when they were gone, they were fired in 44 over the Superboy thing. The artists like Wayne Boring and Stan Kay that they had afterwards finally settled down, picked the design, and that's the design they went with, and it's pretty much this one. By that point, because they had the yellow on the black and the red, they had the little weird looking shield back in the early days with the S on it on Action Comics. So the emblem itself in the cartoons was that black one sometimes, and sometimes it was the yellow and red. They didn't do it consistently. And
I liked the one that Jack Burnley, who was the first to put Superman, Batman, and Robin on a cover, and was his first commissioned work for DC as a comic artist, was in New York World's Fair Comics of 1940. And he has the triangle. It's a triangle.
It's a triangle. Yeah.
And also on those Morphons that they had Dr. Occult and those ones, he also has the triangular thing with an S on it as well. So the triangle was what it was originally, and I liked what Burnley did with that as far as to show it.
Yeah, no. As I said, like it's just it. The reason, by the way, he had a triangle at the World's Fair, they didn't really have a okay. The people who did the costume, the seamstress that did the costume for Superman, did not actually look at a comic book to do it. They were just given instructions by Whitley Ellsworth from DC, who said the costume is this and da 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 da. He tried to explain the five
It's a
sides, and
triangle. Yeah.
they got it as a triangle, and that's why the colors were a little off. Also, the guy who played Superman at the World's Fair was a blonde, and
I know you're telling.
that's why he ended up a blonde on the cover because the
That was a
people.
colorist. That Vincent Sullivan knew exactly what Superman's hair color was. That was a colorist mistake on Fair 39.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard both stories, but yes, no. If you
Well,
say that,
I actually,
you know
I
the
actually
book
spoke.
better, so I believe
No,
you.
no, 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 no. The only reason I know it is because I talked to Sullivan himself.
Yeah.
When I was doing my research, that's the only reason I know that. I mean, people write various things, but I'm old enough that I actually talked to some of these people, and I was able to ask them. So I always like to add what I can.
Yeah. Well, I know that this is why I'm glad I have you, Stephen, because like the problem I find with the internet is current stuff. You can take it to the bank in terms of information. They know who's doing the art and all that stuff. But even on websites, they're still going by, word of, they don't know everybody. They don't know everything. So sometimes you get conflicting reports on different websites, and that's why it's hard to do the research sometimes. But yes, I agree, Susie. Steppo is the 39 fair expert.
That's right. He was there.
Well,
Well,
I'm a little, I know a little bit, but the Fred Gardner bubbles that are down the right hand side, and Vincent
Yeah.
Sullivan did the little kid, and also the Ben Franklin on the back. The front cover and back cover were both done by Vincent Sullivan, except that the bubbles were done. Now, the only thing I know, and I know that Gardner would have known what Superman looked like too, because Superman came out in June of '38, and where this is over in 30 is Superman has had dark hair for over a year because
Exactly.
he came because the fair started in June of '39, and so with that in mind, that whoever the colorist was, just got it wrong. And Matt, I will say this to you: if it is in fact true that because the people he was a blonde at the fair, how someone could have Superman as a blonde at the fair after him being the most popular character in the world for a year. It does strain credulity that someone would do that. I have a mission for you. I want you to see if you can find out. Actually, this might be a Wednesday question for Allan. Allan, who was the colorist for Fair 39?
No idea.
Well, that's going to be a question. You're going to have to answer that. So dust off your thesaurus and get
I
ready.
mean, it
Look
should
into
be in
this.
the comics grand comics database, right?
Which has been somewhat problematic here of late. It crashed and wouldn't open up for me for a couple of days. I think they were having some trouble.
Oh, that's not good.
They're back up now.
Well, everybody, I think that was a great start discussion. So,
Sorry.
Lyle,
Oh, yeah. Just a moment.
we both saw this earlier. We both pulled this for the thing, so
Oh, wow.
we'd start off with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Big Lyle first, and let's start seeing some comics. Oh, very nice.
See?
Nice.
Yeah. Well, it used to fit on a different finger, but I've gotten older and my fingers are arthritis. Anyway, this comic book here is from Australia. This is number 46 in January of 1954. It was a reprint from Superman number 73 from 1953.
Very cool. And do you know what the story is? Like, have you read it?
Well, I haven't. It was a long time ago that I read this, but it's I don't know. There's only like 10 pages. It's very, very thin.
Super Team Family. I love
Number
one,
this.
yeah,
1975.
these books were an attempt back then to take advantage of reprints. I think there's only one new story in it, but I remember Allan told a story about something about to do with pantyhose, and they found that the pantyhose by legs or something was taking up space at stores.
Yeah.
So they made all these big 100-page things quick so that they could keep getting their spots in the magazine racks. I think that was the story, Allan. I was there when Allan was told the story, and I don't quite remember it as well as he does. So
this one was free.
I remember that. That was the first that was the first New 52 giveaway that
2011.
Yeah, that's the first. That free comic day was the first indicator of like what was coming. So
right. So this one here is DC Universe Last Will and Testament. It was a one shot.
Very nice. How did Superman fit in on that story?
I have no idea.
He was the one with the cape.
This was
Yes, I would imagine so.
2008. I haven't read any of these forever. And this one here, I don't know if it was a free comic book day comic book or not. It was DC Universe 0.
That was a 50-cent book. I remember seeing that before too, and that wasn't free comic day. That was just not a giveaway, but a promotional.
So, do you have any of these? This version of the wedding?
I have. That's the exact version I have.
Right. This one that they
Kurt
call
Swan's last work on Superman while he was alive.
And then they had this
What
one
was
here.
what was his work after he died?
They posthumously printed a couple of pages that were not published during his lifetime.
This is the deluxe one. It came with the invitation.
Nice.
Ooh. This is what they call it. The deluxe edition. It was it's complete with invitation card dated 1996. Superman Family 178.
Very nice.
Right. That's because Lois becomes the Bionic Girl.
Yeah, I think that's the new story of the issue.
Right.
Yeah, the rest would be reprints at that time.
This is DC Comics Presents Annual #1 from 1982.
Excuse me. Yes, that's another good one.
Yeah. And well, we showed the big book, but these were from the UK from 1981. They're a little bit bigger. Sorry.
What's it say underneath superheroes? On the cover there, it says
Superheroes Monthly.
Monthly.
This is volume 1, number 12. Then they were just a little bit bigger than the comic book and a little bit smaller than the magazine. I know this doesn't do it justice, but they're really not that big. This one's volume 1, number 9. The other ones are all Batman. These are the only two out of that lot that has Superman on it. And Superman 289.
Very nice. That is a good book. It's a Terra Man one, I believe, eh?
Yeah. And this
that may be either one of his one of his earliest appearances.
This one.
Superman became King Kong. Yeah, I have that one.
Do you?
Yeah.
King Kong. All right. Brave New World.
Nice.
#1 from 2006. Like I said, I haven't read these for a long, long time. What's Happened to Superman, issue 222.
Yes, that is the last. Near to the end of that first second series there. I think that went to 226.
Then we have Superman World of New Krypton, #20. How did you like that outfit?
I don't think that's number 20. That's number 2. It's 20.
Sorry. I was reading a smaller number there. Yeah, #2, sorry, from 2009. #8.
Another good one. The Thangarians. That was hilarious when all the Hawk people just showed up and said, "You're not allowed to be this new power."
Number 7. Number 6.
This was a great series. I did a video on this series not long back.
Number 5.
Hi, Cliff.
Number 4.
Yeah, that was a fun series. It was intermingled with a bunch of other parts of this World of New Krypton storyline. It was pretty cool. It starts with the bottle city of Kandor and moves on from there.
Or number 1 rather, and the one shot, number 1.
Yeah.
Right? You got these?
I have them all. I have the entire storyline.
And
all
Superman. Oh, let me try it. Hang on a sec here. Superman Secret Origins, number 1. Yeah.
That I do not have.
No.
That's on my list. There's a lot. The problem with Superman as a Superman collector is there's so many miniseries and so many
there's a lot.
one-shots. It's hard to keep track of them all.
Number 4. There's a lot of different titles. It never ends.
Yeah.
Right. And number 6.
Number 5 is a good Parasite cover.
Yep. And 703.
Very nice. That's from the Grounded, if I remember correctly. That's the starts Grounded, where he was grounded. Happened because he was trying to reconnect with America after the whole events of New Krypton.
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 Krypton, for God's sake.
We've had a big, long discussion about that.
I thought.
Yes, I know. And why do you think I said it that way?
Because you call it Krypton, you crazy kook.
We know what bothers you.
Oh, very nice. Mon-El on the cover. That's awesome.
Yep. Another one.
And the Guardian with Mon-El as well.
Right.
Who was the Guardian?
The Guardian.
previous one.
Who was the Guardian?
Jim Harper.
Well, who's Jim Harper?
He's a cop who became the Guardian after he started looking after the Newsboy Legion. That's an Alex Ross cover, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
Up.
I love it.
That is one of the best. That was when New Krypton had been enlarged and
Krypton.
at the North Pole.
There's a good number for our Superman.
Wow.
666.
Well, he's gone satanic. What's going on in that one?
Yes.
That was Caligula's address, 666. That's why they
Yeah.
say it's the devil.
The Beast from Krypton.
Well, it is a human number. And then Jimmy Olsen.
Right. Anyway, that's it for now. Well, I know you're only doing one round, but I don't want to take up too much time. Thank you.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Those were all wonderful books. Tonight is all about setting up the show and having a little fun. So next up, we're going to do Allan.
All right.
We're just going to do the same order that Allan does everybody on his show.
Just around.
He has an order?
Yeah.
I just go
Yes,
around.
he does.
I just go around.
Hi, Casino Comics. Glad you could make it.
Okay, so for the sake of Matt, I brought this one.
Oh, yeah.
And
Very nice.
So this is her third appearance. And we got...
Oh, we're going to be technical, are we?
We got her second appearance.
That's her first appearance. Her second appearance is in the
I
ad.
like that one there with the train. I bet you Joe likes that too.
And then we got her first appearance.
Oh, that's true. Which issue number is that one? Superboy?
Number 5.
Number 5, yes. But is that one really the same character?
No,
I know
they're all
Supergirl.
not really the same
I know.
character. Like the
But
other one, it's like she's like a
her
wish
colors are
by
pixel
Jimmy
quick.
Olsen.
She looks like
What?
Mixelplick in that outfit.
I know it's very
Little bit.
different. But she's actually called Supergirl.
Yes, it's amazing.
So you never know.
Superboy
And actually,
Prime.
whoever had this plastic bag, they wrote first Supergirl on it.
So I guess they really were going by this.
So I thought you'd like that one. I don't know. That's just for you. And I brought this for Steven.
Steven is not there at the moment. But
Okay.
yes.
We got the blonde
And
Superman.
the funny part is Siegel actually drew that Superman head. Okay,
Oh, really?
he was right about the Vince Sullivan drawing the thing, but according to Grand
Comics?
the comic database, the little circles were done by their regular artists.
Oh, so
So-
it's like multiple artists that did these.
Yes, but just the little circles. It was.
So
I
it's
said
not
a com-
Gardenier?
No, he
Like
said it was,
Gardenier?
some Gardenier. Yeah, he said, or Vince Sullivan. He said did all the rest.
I
Gardenier,
thought Vince Sullivan did this part.
yeah, and
And then
Gardenier would have
did
done
the sides.
the Sandman.
Yeah. And who did the Sandman?
This was saying Gardenier, I think.
Okay.
He would know.
You would know.
Mhm.
And then I just brought some random ones. It's like we got some
No, that's perfect. First Brainiac.
Brainiac. And I liked this one. This one was in one of the comics we saw, Matt.
Yes, I have that.
Good.
No, that's a good one. That is really a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has like so many first appearances. Well, first, whatever.
Well, it's the
like,
first time they're called the Freedom Fighters, eh? So
Yeah. This is like 1973. So this would be first Bronze Age appearance of Phantom Lady, Doll Man,
that's right.
Uncle
Sam,
Sam,
the Human Bomb,
Human Bomb.
Black Condor is in there, I think, and so is the Ray.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
a bunch of this is the right here, I think. So yeah. So that was
Okay,
kind of a cool
Steven's
book.
back now if you want to hold up that World's
Yeah,
Fair.
that's a nice one.
Yes, that's a great
And
one.
the Neil Adams.
Adams. You were there when I bought that.
Oh. And then we got Steven. Did you bring your copy of this too?
I was prepared to show it. Yes,
Mine just has better colors. Is the only thing.
yes, it is.
Mine's like much more 3D.
Do, 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 do.
Okay, so and it has a really great Benjamin Franklin on the back.
Ben
Yes.
Sullivan.
That's not Ben Sullivan. It's Benjamin
Ben
Franklin.
Franklin. Yes, right. It's Ben Franklin.
Okay.
Either way, it's $100.
Yeah. And then we got first Mixel Pitalik.
Nice.
Was I close on that one?
Mixelpidalic, yeah.
Mixiez Pitalik.
Mix Yaz Pitalik.
That's
But
it.
the thing that I find
Yes,
interesting
Pitalik.
is that it's the P comes first in the Silver Age on, and the T comes first in the
In the
Golden.
Golden Age?
And that's how they separate the Earth 1 and Earth 2 character as well.
Oh, for God's sakes. They had it was on a letters column that someone says, how in the world do you ever pronounce this word?
His
Because it's
name?
all consonants. And the editor said, just so we can clear this up, this is the correct pronunciation of Mr. Mixiez Pitalik. Mixiez Pitalik. And that's it, period.
Yes,
There ain't no variation. I saw it once and it's carved in stone. The tablet has been removed and it's in a museum somewhere, and I must refer to that always. It's the Rosetta Stone.
Okay, and this is the first vigilante.
He's a great character.
He
And
never uses his guns against anyone, the vigilante. He never uses his guns against anybody.
And you'll know the significance of this one.
Yes, it's
It's
the
a
first
black cover with lightning.
No.
First Superboy Prime.
Yes. This Prime, Superboy Prime.
I have that.
Do you? Mine's a white
Son of
pager.
Crom asked about that one book, First Lois on Superman title.
That's the one where there's a lion and she's folded up
That's
down
the
in the
one with
lower
the lion.
left-hand
That's
corner.
Action Comics 27.
Mhm. And Lois, of course, made her debut in Action 1. So,
And this one is the first parody comic and it's a Superman parody.
And who is the parody guy wearing the derby? What's his name?
Now
you're looking for the cover. You have to look into the camera. Look into Cheater.
Okay,
Cheater.
Well,
his name is Brooklyn. His name is Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Yes, I
Brooklyn.
guessed that, but from that.
Son of Crom is saying I meant Superman cover, not Action.
Oh, Superman cover. That's the one where he's kind of lifting her up and they're kind of flying up. I forgot what issue number that is. Okay, and one more thing I brought. Here is the second appearance of Crypto. Mine's really faded.
Nice.
But second appearance of Crypto.
Steel.
The Dog of Steel, yeah.
Yes.
And here's the first appearance of Crypto.
That is a huge book. I've tried to get some. I'm going to get me one of those books for First Crypto. I have to.
Yeah, I like Crypto.
That's Adventure 210, right?
Yeah.
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 And it's covered by Kurt Swan.
Yeah, and that's where Crypto was cartoony, see?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a bit cartoony looking.
And he has a flesh muzzle. Yeah.
Well, he looks more like a real dog there. I find that they tried to play down his breed a bit later. There they were trying to make him look better, but somewhere along the line they decided that they needed to mix his breed a little bit because they didn't think Krypton would have the same breeds necessarily of dogs that we do. So,
okay, so those are mine for. I didn't bring that many. I just brought a few.
Awesome.
Krypton.
Okay. So let's go to Steven.
Krypton. I will start with an early, which is of course Allan already showed it, but I had to show the blonde-haired Superman to please Mr. Atkinson. This was a long time coming for me to get this thing back from the one I had. The one I had was a 9.6 with white bone white pages that scoff.
Yeah.
Well played. Well played. Get him off the chat. Okay. No, it was absolutely beautiful. And when I sold it, because it was the guy, Steve Jeppy, offered me too much money for it. I had to take the money. I had to take the money on that one. And and then he proceeded to damage it, and it still came back.
It's so sad.
I mean, the whole, my tendrils have touched various and assorted things over the years, but it's because I have really been, and I said this to Allan earlier today, comic books have punctuated my entire life since, to learn to read and everything. I basically have comics in my head for various dates in my life growing up. I mean, it gets a little foggy when I started dating, I have to confess. My mind was somewhere else. So was all the blood. But anyway, so here is...
So many new adventures.
Yes. And this is a family program, so we'll leave it there, Big Lyle. So here we go, the Trilon and the Perisphere.
I always thought it was a tragedy that the Trilon and the Perisphere were ripped apart for
Trilon.
Trilon?
Trilon, yeah.
Okay, Trilon. I always thought that it would have been really cool to keep them, but
I have no idea why they did that. I also wish they would.
They ended up scrap metal for World War II.
They were made of they were made of scrap. They were never designed to last, and that's what they did here at the 1905 exposition, the Lewis and Clark exposition. They had this entire, almost like a little city that they built, but it was built just to last for the couple of years for the fair, 04, 05, and 06. Late 4, 5 into 6, and the world's largest log cabin that had all that first growth Doug fir that they built that was from forests from like the 1890s.
Yeah, you said it burned down or something?
And then they had an arson burn it in 1965. and
Mm.
it was the most it was the most beautiful. It really, you felt like you're with God. There were clouds. It was so big. There were clouds up at the top in the rafters. It truly was. Um, so anyway, but there's the triangular. This is the
Yeah.
first Jack Burnley cover, and his Batman and Robin are very, very classic.
Yeah.
And on the back, they have some of the other heroes inside. Now you will notice that Superman on the cover is the Jack Burnley face, right?
Yeah.
And then they go to this sort of Sergeant Rock looking. This is the earliest version of Superman's picture that they had. That was a Schuster. You see?
Yeah.
See how kind of
Mhm.
how chromat. I mean, he's very, very crudely drawn, and I think incredibly charming Superman like that. Johnny Thunder and the Thunderbolt was around for a hell of a long time. And he never could understand how the Thunderbolt arrived to begin with. He never could understand, because if he said the magic phrase to bring the Thunderbolt was CEI U. So whenever he'd say you,
Yeah.
then the Thunderbolt would appear, and he would use it. And he says, "Well, how come you came back?" He says, "You called me," and he couldn't tell him what this. They used that a long time. Our man, as you can see, is also very old,
Yeah.
and Zatara was in Action 1. Now, a lot of these early comics, you also have Red, White, and Blue, which is because of the war coming on. And they had a lot of these war-themed things. But Slam Bradley and Radio Squad and a lot of these other crime characters were in these books. Okay?
I think Slam Bradley started in Detective 22 or 20. It
I
was another Siegel Schuster.
So anyway, but there's that.
Yeah.
Here is my favorite Superman cover, and I've told the story so many times you already know the story about Superman number 17.
Yes. It's a beautiful book.
And I got it conserved because it was not cleaned in the prescribed process. It was distilled water and vinegar, and they gave me it conserved because of that. This is the same collection that John Burke's Superman number 1 came from, and I actually held this entire collection of 1 through 25. I got to go all the way through them. And I got the 14, which is the black one with the shield and the eagle, and I got this one. Those were the two. And the 14 I sold because I had to sell that in a hurry and a More Fun 73 so I could get the Schomburg painting. So I could get the cash together to get that. I had to raise 17 grand fast.
Wow.
Before someone else got it. And then there's a whole rest of that story, how I ended up getting it. But it is mine. And you can always get another 14. You can always get into More Fun 73. Mm-hmm. But you cannot get the last commissioned original work by Alex Schomburg. I was checking. This was $5 in 1942. $3 in 1941. $2.95 for a carbine or a daisy was $63. So this would be in today's money, this would be like an $80 gun.
Wow.
With inflation, U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's just that's the way it was. This one I bought from Richard Muchin. Tomorrow's Treasures, and I bought this from him over the phone. He had a listing, and I will sometime for you. And this issue here, he said it was a 9, and I sent it in, and it's got it has white pages, and this is from 1945, February of 1945. So it was probably in December of 44 is when it's probably right about the time of the Battle of the Bulge. But this book here is, you'll notice that his boot tops are well taken care of with the little yellow with the gold flash on the top of his boots.
Yeah.
But no S on the back of his cape.
They didn't solidify the uniform completely until the very late 40s.
I don't
And
think
then-
they. I don't think they ever really solidified it. I think that artists took license, Matt, and I bet you dollars to donuts that there are variations around. It's nothing. These are people making a funny book to make money. This was not
Yeah.
absolute carved in stone canon that had to be followed on pain of death.
What number
This
is
was.
that?
I want to make the S a little bit different because I'd see. And by the way, drawing that S on his chest is a very difficult thing to do. And
I
you know
know.
what I talked to one of the guys. They were talking about having to draw. I read having to draw the S on his chest. And you know they said was the easiest way to draw the S like this.
How?
Draw
They
it.
basically they basically drew the open space where the yellow was. Instead
Right.
of trying to make the S, they would draw the open spaces instead. Now that was I never would have occurred to me that that's what they said. Now, and just as a side note, and this has a World War II joke where got a stick of gum, Joe. In other words, he's going to drop the bomb to give him a stick of gum. This ever-ready battery, lighter moments during the war that he should drop the bomb and explode it to give this guy a stick of gum. It's hysterical. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
So there is. I am currently having a commission done by Matty Freeze of the Captain America cover with the red skull, the big one at the end of the run. That is
Nice.
the most. And this black background with the green celadon green aura is what's going to go around the red skull. And
Nice.
crackly lightning, not this heavy duty lightning, and it won't be hitting him, but it'll be coming out from behind him, kind of twisted and crackly, rather than these very uniform bolts. Who drew this cover, Matt?
Oh, that's probably Stan K.
Wayne
No.
Boring.
Wayne Okay, now
Wayne
that
Boring.
you,
Wayne Boring. Doing,
yeah, now that you say that, I see the style. Now that you
no,
say
no,
that.
you don't. No, you don't.
Yes, I
So-
do, because
No,
he's
you
starting.
can't. You can't. You
he's
mustn't.
starting to do his little
It'll
up.
hurt you.
What? He's
Gotcha.
starting to do his little upright thing with the shoulders and the head. You can
This
see
is
it
a
in the
beautiful.
elongated head.
This is the one that. This is the one. Paul Cassidy does a great job too, but this particular one, you can see that Boring is channeling Schuster in this. If you look at the face and the way that the hair goes, all of that.
Boring's original job was to look like Schuster. He was one of the first ghost artists they brought in, but he was owned by DC, not by the Schuster shop. Say that 50 times fast. Like
You're under arrest.
Yeah, he worked out of New York, not Cleveland. So
I will show a few actions before I continue on with my Supermans. I had to show this, but I guess that Allan already showed his copy.
it matters not. I like to see what everybody likes. Nice. Everything turns to gold.
You know that Action Comics early on are not as good to me as Adventures are, because Adventure has Aquaman and Green Arrow.
Yeah,
And a lot of the mid 50s Green Arrows are Jack Kirby drawn.
that is true. Very nice. I'm Team Kara.
Superfluous.
Another good one. Yep.
This is a really tough book. I've only ever seen one copy of this, and this is the one that I bought. This is from one I call the date stamp collection that this guy got from the same
I have it, by the
newsstand.
way.
Not like this, you don't.
No, mine's much lower grade.
This is absolutely scintillating.
Colors are really good.
Thank you. Here's another one of these date stamp ones.
That I
Watch out for the red meatball, man.
Meatball Man. Is that the first appearance of Meatball Man?
It has to be. I'm sure that it must be.
And
He
last
fell off the
appearance?
They got him after he fell off the table and rolled down the floor.
Yeah.
This is where Supergirl meets Superhorse. And I
Yes.
love this. I remember this when I was a little kid. I always liked the way those robots looked. I really did. Always thought they were really cool looking robots.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's just a taste of my action. Now we go, and because you are Supergirl centric, you are Mr. Supergirl,
Yes.
and Alan's shown this probably, but this is my copy of the Superboy number
Nice.
5.
Yes, it's very nice. He did show it, and I pointed out that she's colored like Mixoplick, or Mixapitlick, as you would say.
Mix
Yaz
Yez Piddle
Piddleick.
Ick. So, but this is the Superboy meets Supergirl right on the cover.
Cam Union, the Meatball Man, is a bunch of
We're
red
making
clips.
fun. We're making
Yeah.
fun. And then because I had that one, I had to follow up with this one.
I am really getting disappointed in myself
Why?
because I don't
Why?
have one yet.
Well, you're a young man. My God, it took me it took me decades to find this. Do you know who I got this one from, though, by the way? David Alexander. Dave Alexander, I got this from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And he semi made me a deal on it, Alan. It was before I bought the before I got the Batwoman, Weird Mystery, Weird Tales, because of getting a good deal out of Dave after that one. I don't think he's forgiven me yet for that. Anyway, he says, "How did you know that was going to happen? How come you always know what's going to happen?" I said, "I don't. I just like the book." "No, you must know something. How did you know that?" And I like this because this has the first appearance of Superman and Batman team up.
Yes.
But this annual was one of my, this is 61. This is with a huge DC logo and the small approval stamp, which is reversed. Usually it's the opposite way around. This book is completely different that way. This is the coolest book because it has all these different origins in it.
Well,
It's
I
good.
can't get over it. Like the Challengers of the Unknown is a great origin. Wonder Woman is a great origin. The Team is a great origin. Flash, Green Lantern, even the Green Arrow, and like all of them. Like
That's a major book, yeah.
The only one I find personally that I didn't like as much was the Adam Strange one. It just seemed like, okay, he went to another planet and that's that, you know.
Now you know the reason why how I explained
Well, it's
that.
the Theta Beam.
Well, no, I understand it's the Zeta Beam. But they had Jack Schiff and Schwartz were brought into Ellsworth's office, or whoever the head guy was, Wessinger. And he said, "I want you, because of the Flash doing so well, I want you both to come up with characters, and we're going to put them into showcase. One will be a futuristic character, and one is going to be a human character." So Schiff got to go first. He says, "Well, I'll take the future guy," and then and that turned into what's his nuts? Yellow Space Ranger. That turned into Space Ranger. And then what Infantino did, or what Julie Schwartz did, was he came up. He says, "Well, I'll have the Earthman." So what did he do? He has an Earthman who is an archeologist who gets hit by the Zeta Beam, and then he goes to the future in Ron. So in other words, he said, "Sure, I'll take the Earth guy because he ain't an Earth guy. He's on Ron." And then you have Infantino and that science fiction thing, because Adam Strange is far superior character to Space Ranger. It's it's a better written, better drawn, better everything, better. It just, the whole thing is better. I have Space Rangers, but not very many, because Mystery in Space was enough because of Infantino. So this is, and here is how the Justice League started, where Superman starts in the Justice League.
Yeah.
Here is also Superboy. Superman as Superboy turns into Superman.
Yeah.
Super Baby to Superboy to Superman, all in one issue. Secret Origins.
I loved the Justice League origin back then, with the whole the 7 guys from another planet fighting over who was going to be the Emperor, and they could turn everybody into their,
I think it was 3. It was 3, wasn't it?
It was 7 because it was 7 because all of them started fighting a single one. The first 5 fought a single one. Then they came together to defeat the 6th, and Batman and Superman were working together to defeat the 7th.
Okay. Here is the first Lex Luthor cover in Superman.
Nice.
And this is a very, very unusual color scheme on a cover like this.
Very nice.
You don't see it very often.
No.
And here is the actual issue where they got their secret identities, where they saw their
Superman
secret
71.
identities.
It's a
76.
76?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. World's Finest 71. Right. Yeah. Okay. I know where I'm getting it. Yeah. That's a great story, though. And World's Finest 71 was not long after that. And you know why they teamed them up, right? Because World's Finest was cutting pages. And in order to do that, they had to cut a story. So they couldn't decide who to cut. So they decided to make team-up stories so they could have one story and have both Superman and Batman in it.
Well, they could have gotten rid of Johnny Quick or one of those other ones, frankly.
But Johnny Quick didn't last very long up past the 50s, once the 50s started anyway.
Here is Lois Lane as a policewoman. This one's been reprinted several times. They just thought it was just a great story.
It is a wicked story. But yeah, having a super guardian like that doesn't hurt.
Her arrest record is fantastic. All these people are unconscious around her. How did she do it? I don't know. I was just putting on my lipstick and they fell down. Here is Superman number 100. Who did the cover, Matt?
Isn't that Kurt Swan?
No.
No?
Boring?
No.
Mort Whitmer? I don't know. Win
No,
Mortimer?
It'd have to be K.
No, it's Al. You keep saying Stan K. He
Al
doesn't look like this.
Plastino?
It's Al Plastino.
Al Plastino.
Plastino.
Oh yeah, that's a good. That would be a good time period.
Don't quiz me on it though.
No,
Okay.
I won't. Trust me, you're beating me tonight.
Well, I'm bringing the information, so if I can't catch you a little off guard, it really isn't very fair. This one, I just think was just hysterical, and this is when Superman gets so bulky.
Is this like hula? Is he doing hula?
Yeah, well, isn't the bulky era is pretty much boring?
It is boring.
Yes,
But
So
I do
why is
like
he
but
bulky?
I like it with the roundy eyeballs, and inside he's not as chunky. And when he flies vertically, standing up
I know.
with one leg tucked under his ass.
he's always Wayne Boring is unique, and that's
I love his stuff.
Yes,
I love his stuff.
I don't
Kurt
like
Swan
him
is
look-
too
He doesn't
good.
look good so thick like that, though, I don't think.
No, but it's just that here's if you like that thickness, well, how do you like this thickness then?
Yeah,
That's what we had. This is what we had in the day.
yeah.
This is like 53, 50. This is like 19. See, because let's see, the code 54. This is probably 1955 or 54, 55.
Boring did most of the Superman books, where Swan did World's Finest and action and some of the adventure stuff. Boring did more stories, but Kurt had shorter stories, so therefore he was in more books.
Here is issue number 105. Generally, you don't see this.
That's an interesting one. He goes
That is
back
a
in
nice-
time or something?
I'm uncertain. Either that's crooks that are dressed up like that pulling. I haven't read it. It's always the plots are absolutely marvelously incredible. Here is the second tryout of Supergirl.
I
Yes.
showed it.
I love the story for this one. It's like the monkey's
one.
paw type thing. It was
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, it's Jimmy Olsen. bringing
Yeah.
it
But
to
she
life.
dies. She dies saving him. It's really a sad story. All she wanted to do was to please him, to make
I
him
know.
happy.
I know.
And then because back then everything had to be the same between each issue to start almost with a clean piece of paper again with everybody as they were. And then she ends up going in there, and then she ends up getting dead for her trouble, just trying to
Yeah.
help. And she was written that here she's doing everything she can to help, and no one gives her any help or understanding or anything else, and then she dies saving him. I really didn't. It was a sad story. I didn't
Yeah.
care for that. I do invest in and that's one thing about if you're a real collector and you read this, you invest in the characters emotionally. It's a personal thing. Reading a book or reading especially a comic to me, I've said this, but Susan pointed out very rightly so, that when you read a book, it's a very personal experience between you and the author. But it's
Yeah.
even more so with a comic because then it's the pictures that are involved as well. So you have who's this? How does the character look? How does the character act? How is movement shown? And then you become used to and expect and want that particular team to do it. That's why if you get a different writer or a different artist, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't. It takes you a while to try to get. For example, when Infantino came into Batman. I mean, I love Infantino, but his Batman is not, his Flash is great. His Batman, I liked Shelley Moldov's Batman, the more
Yeah.
golden agey looking Batman than the new look with the yellow and all that other. I mean, it is what it is, and I got along with it. But then if Infantino didn't have Murphy Anderson inking him on Batman, then it was a little bit more problematic as well because Anderson could make the. Anyway, I digress. I'm sorry. Here is Superman, but this cover is so beautiful. The color, and
Yeah.
you look at the black line on the spine. This is just absolutely beautiful. This book.
Yeah. Another sad story one.
Yeah, he'll be dead in an episode. I love you. I love you, Lois. Sorry, Lois, you're going to have to marry him. I do? Yeah, you got to marry him. Why do I have to marry him? Because it's written that way. Oh, okay. So here we have this, I think, the first 12 center. This is issued January 19, number 150.
Yeah, another good one.
So that's almost at the end of the 10-cent era.
That's right.
That's right, because it's a 12-cent comic.
Oh, it looked like a 10-center. I thought it was I thought where it was where they went with the box.
Now, if you rewind this, you will hear me say this is the first 12-cent comic for Superman.
Did you actually say that
Yeah.
when you showed
Yes,
it?
he
Oh, I
did.
didn't hear you say that. Sorry.
But you never listened to me, you see. This is you never
Sorry.
and then you say you never said that. I said, but honest, I did say that. And you said, no, I don't think you did. Okay. So anyway, and the way you can tell is that box that's up there, you got
Yeah,
a 10 cent and then still 10 cents, and then they put the 12 in there to I don't think they couldn't fool you, but there you go.
That's the first 12-cent one.
Yeah.
Superman number 150.
Okay.
And here is Superman number 154.
I've seen that one.
I like
I
that
don't know
one. Yeah.
where.
Have you seen that one, Matt?
I just don't know where I got it.
I don't know either.
See,
Some
why did you have
schmuck.
multiple copies of that book?
What led me to do that?
Yeah.
It's just the wacky way I operate, Alan.
No, I just wonder why that copy that you had multiple.
I have multiples of quite a few of the books.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just how over the years you get a nice one and then I don't want anything to happen to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I in fairness, with the number of books I have, I actually will at times forget what I have.
Yeah, me too.
I do that
And if
too.
I find a nice copy of a book, I say, gosh, I've seen that. I really like that. Then I get home and I go, oh, I know why now. So
Yeah, I've done that too many times.
and this is issue number 158. And I believe, I'm not sure, but is this the first time you have Nightwing and whatever his name is when
Yeah,
they go
that's
into
right. Yes.
when they
Thunderbird.
go into Candor?
Yes,
That's the first
right.
Nightwing and
Thunderbird.
Thunderbird.
Flamebird.
Flamebird, yes.
Flamebird. Okay.
And they
I
have
was
the
trying to
rocket.
remember the name. I was trying to remember the name.
Yeah, Jimmy Olsen gets to have superpowery stuff.
I picked up that book. Somebody recommended it. It was either you, Stephen, or Matt, and I picked it up. Or maybe it was Lyle. I don't know. One of you guys.
I have a
recommended
question
it to
for
me.
you, Stephen.
Ask.
Have you ever had the opportunity to ever hold an Action 1 in your hands?
No, I have not.
Yeah,
I
neither
have
have
not.
I.
I have not had an opportunity as yet to hold one. It is not necessarily something that I can't live without, because Action One is not actually the one that I would feel as though I would want to hold. The two that were the most that I wanted to hold the most were Captain America #1 and Batman 1. Actually,
Yeah.
Batman 1 was the first one that I really wanted to get, and I wanted for years and years and years until it finally occurred. But the Cap one was precipitous. Detective 27 is not as good a cover as Bat 1.
No.
Also, you get all Batman stories in Batman #1. It's a better cover. It has Robin. It has the first Joker. It has the first Catwoman.
No.
And it's all dedicated to all Batman stories rather than just one Batman story. And so, and the difference in cost and also still scarcity, the Batmans do tend to turn up. Alan, did you see how faded that Batman 1 was that you showed?
Yeah, it wasn't a
On your,
good copy.
did you see how faded that thing was?
I was actually surprised. I was watching that one for like months that it was on eBay, and just somebody, I guess, pulled the trigger on it.
I look at that book, and I mean, if you're going to choke up 60 grand, over 60 grand for that,
Yeah.
it's not pretty enough. It's not a pretty enough book. I really am. I am very, very blessed. I really lucked out on what was. The thing is, you have to be able to, when these things present themselves to you, you got to try to be able to turn the spheres in some way to make it happen. And I had to scramble to get the Bat 1. But the Cap one fell into my lap because I was able to parlay my AF-15 that I bought years ago on the basis of an investment. So my investment in that was more financial than it was through my heart for love of Spider-Man. My love of Spider-Man was it was the most valuable comic in the Silver Age. It wasn't necessarily because of Spider-Man. No knock on Spider-Man, but he was too henpecked. It's just that's just the way he struck me. I didn't like the Fantastic Four because of all the squabbling. That's why I liked Ant-Man and I liked Thor, and I did like Iron Man, and they made him tragic at the same with Pepper Potts and Happy Hogan and all that crap. But he was still good. And then of course they had to saddle Thor with, because they are Marvel books, they're soap operas, with what's her nuts, the nurse. Oh, I love her so. Odin
Jane
says
Foster.
you can't. What's her name?
Jane Foster.
Jane Foster.
Jane Foster.
Oy vey. Go with Sif. She's hot. Okay, here we go. This is issue number 162, where you have the red Superman and the red and the blue Superman.
Yes. One of my favorite imaginary stories, aren't they all, of all time?
Here's your blonde Superman, Mr. Matt.
Yes, I've seen that book on a few occasions.
And this is so Kurt Swan. You look at his face. You always look at their mouths. You look at their mouths, and you know right away it's Kurt Swan. He's too good. He's too good.
I know.
Here is issue number 174.
Nice.
These I bought from a single collection. There were two collections that came in. One came from Southeast Portland in a garage, which is books sitting in a box. And some guy came down from Alaska, and they were in a cold, dry, dark basement. And they had no bags or boards. They just came in boxes. And the books were just white-paged, beautiful books. They unmolested. They were bought and just put away. And that's where I got all these. This was the collection that I took, I think, 4 bites of the apple. I went through the first time, and I was very peck-sniffian. And I said, you got rocks in your head. I went back for a second bite. I went back for a third bite. And I went back for a fourth bite to make sure that I didn't miss anything. And I basically took most everything that I could. There were some that were lesser. Then I passed on those. And I don't feel bad about those. But I'm so glad I went back and closed the deal and all that. But I will say this to you as a buyer, as a collector. If you go in to buy a collection, if you don't buy everything you can the first sweep, it will cost you more money. Because then when you come back the second time, they say, oh, you really want those? Okay, well, we're going to blah, blah, blah. And so what you do is every book that you want, every book that you think you want, and every book that you have an inkling you like, buy it all at one time and beat them up for the discount on the first bite, and you will have the best success, of course, money notwithstanding. that's your best bet when you're buying a collection or if you're buying a group of books. And all of these were original owner books. And that's another thing that makes it, when the collection comes in, that some person actually put the run together. My Flash run is an original owner collection. These are all original owner collections. The guys that took good care of their books generally took good care of all their books. And so that's one of the things that you have. And they still do turn up, but now they basically are second. For example, if I turn these in, when these are in, this is from my collection, but I did not buy them originally. Here is issue number 183, which I remember this because of the Golden Age stories that were inside. Yeah. As a kid, I remember getting this, and I read this book a bunch of times.
It's a good one.
Here we have Superman number 190.
That one I need. That's one of the few Go-Go Checker that I need for Superman.
Yep, I have that one, yeah.
You've been hanging around somebody. What's his name? I can't think of it.
My wife.
Wow! Wow!
Uh-oh.
Here is issue number 192, where he's spanking Super Baby.
I have that
and
one
he's
too.
and he's whacking his fanny with the hairbrush.
Yeah. That's one hell of a hairbrush. It's still sort of, it does break, but I mean, like, it's not smashing to bits.
Or a belt.
Superman has a belt that could stay together. He just needs to pull the belt from his outfit.
Here is issue annual. This is the giant size. This is issue number 193. Really a nice copy of this one.
Mm-hmm. I bought that not too long ago.
I think I saw you buy that, actually.
Yes, you did. You were there. I bought that off Norm.
Clark Kent's Lost Parents. All right. Here's another Go-Go. Here's issue number 196. This was a pretty popular book in its day. I remember that everybody wanted to get this one because they're brawling with one another.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, I'm going to probably have to head out.
We're going to have to wrap up shortly.
Okay. Well, do you want me to stop? I'll stop.
How many more you got?
I got as much as you got. I mean, I have books all the way to the end, if you wish.
And we're going to need to stop because if we're going to have to wrap up. This went a little longer than I expected, which is great. Don't get me wrong. No. Don't get me wrong. I'm always happy to see books. I am very, very happy. So this was the debut show of the Sunday Superman show. I didn't get
Sunday Superman show now.
Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try and do this bi-weekly. And yes, the Sunday Superman show is the name I decided to give it because I'm using my Stan Lee. Okay. I channeled Stan Lee and I'm using the S's. So thank you everybody who joined us today. I hope you enjoyed this. Next time I come on, I will get to show some books and we'll talk again. Just anything Superman. Like, we've got 3 new Superman series coming out because this is going to be the summer of Superman, for example. We can get more into that next time. So we'll see you again, hopefully in 2 weeks' time. I have Chonko coming on my Tuesday night show coming. We are 9 subs away from the giveaway. So thank you, everybody. Now it's time for me to say Nosnitka Wetham and disappear back to the 5th dimension. My name is Matt. I like comics, and I hope you do too. Thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight.
Bye. See you, everybody.
Bye, guys. Bye.